Hi foodie friends, my name is Jessica Ann with Savory Experiments, and today we are making my favorite skirt steak marinade. But before we get started, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on our videos. Make sure you get them every single Wednesday when they come out fresh. Okay, so this skirt steak, it is an amazingly versatile recipe. You can use it for tacos, you can put it on salad, you can just eat it by itself. Today we're gonna sear it in a pan on the stove and put a little bit of chimichurri over it. It is just an excellent all-purpose recipe. But it is steak, and we're gonna make it in honor of Father's Day. So cheers to all the dads out there. Today we are going to be exchanging my wine for a little bit of whiskey. And we're ready to get started. Okay, easy marinade. You probably have all of these ingredients already in your pantry or your fridge. We have a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. As you see here, I am putting it directly into a resealable plastic bag. You don't have to use one. If you want to use like a shallow dish or something along those lines, that is perfectly fine too. But this doesn't make a ton of marinade. You don't need a ton of marinade. 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar, getting ahead of myself here. A little bit of marinade goes a long way for this kind of steak, and it doesn't even need to be in there that long. I also like to set my bags into a bowl. This is to keep it upright while I'm working, so I don't have to keep a hand on the bag and on my other ingredients. Okay, we have 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, the hardest name in the English cooking culinary nation. Wow, need to get rid of that shaker on this guy. Make it just pour. And 1 tablespoon of spicy brown mustard. This was like a heaping tablespoon. I really like mustard. You could also use a Dijon if you don't have that. And I've used a like Worcestershire mustard sauce. Any of those specialty mustards work great, and you can change it up. About 1 to 2 tablespoons of honey, which I'm just gonna eyeball for these purposes. A little bit more in there. The honey is gonna help balance all of the acidity out because we have vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, and soy sauce, and mustard. All of those really bold flavors that are going to help break down the steak super fast to make it awesomely tender, but also have a lot to them. The honey will balance that. This is 1/4 cup vegetable oil. You could also use olive oil if you want to. Just make sure it's a type of neutral oil that also has a high smoke point, especially if you're gonna put it on the grill. Otherwise, you're gonna get a lot of flames. And lastly, garlic. I'm pretty sure my original recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic, but we all know how I feel about garlic. So I've got 3 very large cloves going in here. I am using a garlic press. And the reason for that is with fresh garlic cloves, the more that the fibers break, the more pungent of a garlicky taste and flavor you're gonna get. So you're actually gonna get the least amount of garlic flavor from sliced garlic, then chopped garlic, then minced garlic. Next would be a pressed garlic, and lastly, a grated garlic. That's gonna give you the most bang for your buck. I'm gonna make sure all of that garlic gets in there because I love garlic. I'm gonna have it on my fingers, smell good for later. Little bit of kosher salt, about a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. That's also gonna bring out those natural flavors and help tenderize the meat. And 1/2 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. Eyeballing that one and still tasting all that delicious garlic. Okay, seal the bag. We're gonna mix it right on in the bag. Just massage it around until you start to feel the honey break down. And because of all the acid, the honey will break down pretty fast. Looking good to me. My skirt steak. Throw it right on in there. Get all of the air out. Toss it around a little bit so that all of the areas, all the surface space has a little bit of marinade and flavor on it. And then lay it down on one side. I like to keep it in this bowl because then I can get some on top too. Chill it, put it in the fridge for 3 to 4 hours up to overnight. I've already marinated one in advance, so let me show you how to cook that over on the stove. Cooking times are gonna vary based on how you choose to cook your steak and the thickness of your skirt steak. This one, and because we like ours very rare, is only gonna take about 3 to 4 minutes per side. Make sure when you take your steak off the grill or the stove, however you choose to cook it, you let it rest for at least 5 minutes so all those juices can reincorporate into the fibers. Foodie friends, that sizzle is amazing. And this steak has some amazing lines on it, even though we didn't do it on the grill. From all of those sugars in the honey and the balsamic vinegar, we get these nice hatch marks. I wanna take it out of the pan as soon as possible or off the grill while it rests, because if it's in the hot pan, it's gonna continue to cook, and we don't want that, especially for my medium rare loving folks. Let this rest for about 5 minutes, even 10 minutes before you cut into it. That is the time when all of the juices reincorporate into the fibers so that all of your juice isn't left all over the cutting board. You want it to stay inside the steak. I can tell from just smelling this that it is going to be an amazing steak. I'm looking at the grain of the steak, and I wanna make sure that I cut against the grain. This shortens fibers, making it seem more tender in your mouth when you're chewing it. Oh, runaway steak piece. This goes for just about anything, any kind of meat that you're cutting. Chicken, steak, pork, always cut against the grain. I'm going a little bit thick on my slices here because we're just gonna eat this for dinner as a steak. But if I was gonna be doing tacos, I'd cut it a little bit thinner. Same for salad. Did I mention we like our steak rare? I hope no one else is offended by this, but my husband would get really mad if it was not. So I can usually just take my knife and move it right on over. Ooh, nice and pink. Perfect. Get all of those runaway pieces. Actually, if we're being honest, this runaway piece, perfectly juicy. Tonight we are serving this lovely steak with my famous chimichurri sauce. I can't wait to dig in. From my kitchen to yours, have a lovely day.